Hey everybody, Nathan Ronen, CFA here with another update. This one for the Level 3 candidates who are about to take their Level 3 exam this February 2025. If you're one of those candidates or you're anticipating to be a Level 3 candidate in the near future, you may want to listen to this update about how to pass those essays. I think you'll find this information very valuable. And if you don't mind, if you would kindly press the subscribe button now and the notifications bell so that you can continue to receive these updates on a weekly or bi-weekly basis as I post them on YouTube and other forms of social media. Well, Level 3 is, as you know, a kind of different animal compared to Level 1 and Level 2 because you have this new component called the constructive responses or essays. And at first blush, most people think, how difficult could it be? I passed Level 1, I passed Level 2. Well, ask any person that actually took the Level 3 exam and passed it, or anybody that's taken the Level 3 exam and hasn't passed it and is still retaking it and is frustrated. They will all tell you that the key to passing the Level 3 exam is knowing how to do the essays, knowing how to give the graders what they're looking for and match up with their answer key as best as possible. Now, the problem is that there's no guidance given, true guidance or valuable guidance given in most of my competitors' prep materials or even in the CFA curriculum, okay? And the grading process is a sort of mystery to most people. Yes, the CFA Institute tries to give you some generic information about how the exams are graded or what they're looking for, but it's really just, as I just said, general information. So how can you possibly have an edge on exam day when it comes down to the essays? First of all, what I am going to tell you, taking a step back, is if you can't do well on the essays, you most likely will not pass the Level 3 exam. I have told my candidates, people working with me, and I continue to tell people, you can study the CFA Level 3 curriculum, the materials, as much as you want, as often as you want, as in-depth as you want. But if you don't translate that into application on the exam, and you're not giving the graders what they're looking for, and you're not addressing the command words correctly, and you're providing extraneous information, and your answers are too detailed, or you're underwriting, it's going to be a disaster. Those 11 essays are just going to be a disaster. And you'll think walking out of the exam that you answered most of them correctly, and then you will get your result and be stunned, as many candidates are, that they got under 50% or they were below the line on many of the different topics that had essays associated with them. So Nathan, how can you help me? Well, here's the thing. I've been a CFA Level 3 instructor for Level 1, 2, 3 for almost 30 years. And I actually pioneered more than 20 years ago a CFA Level 3 essay writing exam kind of workshop. I don't do the workshops anymore, but I still do the CFA Level 3 exams, mock exams. And what I do in those mock exams is I provide you with 15 essays. You will do those essays using a formula of how long to spend on each essay. And then after you've completed the essays, you will submit them for not only grading like -1, -2, but also for feedback. What are you doing wrong? Why did I deduct 2 points? What overall should you do to improve? This is really important because if you try to grade yourself on the essays, you might be too kind, meaning too generous, or you might be overbearing on yourself because you're a perfectionist. I have years and years of experience grading CFA Level 3 exams, especially mock exams, and I've probably done more than 40, 50,000 of them, okay? I don't know, I've never really counted, to be honest with you, but many, many. And every year people flock and they ask for the help, and I'm happy to give it. But here's what you need to understand, okay? And that is, there is a way to answer the essays and there's a way not to answer the essays, okay? And people will continuously underestimate the rigorousness of these essays, not in terms of the difficulty of the questions being asked, but doing silly mistakes and losing points. For example, when the question asks you to agree or disagree with a statement, and then if you disagree, explain why. A lot of times candidates will agree with the statements and explain why. But the instructions didn't ask you to do that. They asked you only to explain if you disagreed. That puts you behind other candidates that follow instructions. Other times, it'll ask you, for example, for 4 qualities of a valid benchmark and to identify them and briefly explain them. And people will do something like, say, measurable, which is correct. And then when they have to briefly explain it, they'll say, well, that the index can be measured. You're using the term to define the term? Wow. Well, that's like saying, how do you explain the word serendipity? What does serendipity mean? Well, it's the act of being serendipitous. That's not very helpful. Again, the graders are going to dock you. Okay? I'm going to teach you these things. I'm going to point these out to you when you do these mock exams. And you will get honest, very direct feedback, which could make a tremendous difference on your actual real exam. Now, you can obviously discount these, pieces of advice. That's your choice. But if you have some kind of insight into how the graders are really grading, then just do it on your own. But I don't think it's a good use of your time. I actually think it's a waste of your time trying to figure out the grading process, trying to figure out how to answer the essays. Let me help you out. Get you over there, get you your charter, and move on. This is really, really important, what I'm talking about. So be good to yourself. Understand that, hey, I've studied for this exam. I've reviewed the material. That's like 30% of what I need to do to pass this exam. Now I got to know how to take this exam, and Nathan's going to help me. And that's the other 70%. So if you're interested and you really want to get over that hump, check out my website at chalkandboard.org. That's chalkandboard.org. You'll see that I have 3 different essay mock exams. You can register for one of them, 2 of them, all 3 of them. You can get them with grading or without grading, meaning with grading and feedback or without. And if you do it with grading and feedback or without, you will get access to the exam and a complete answer key. But if you select the grading option, then afterwards you'll submit it to me. And then within 24 to 48 hours, you'll get your results back with value-added feedback, and you'll know exactly what you're doing wrong. And one last thing I want to say before I close this out, and that is that if the essays that you're doing with other prep providers or from the CFA Institute's mock exams, which is really the CFA Society Boston's mock exam, if you look at the legend at the bottom, if the essays that you're doing or the constructed responses that you're doing are information that is directly in the readings and can be recited from the curriculum, some of your essays are going to be like that, but some are not. When you do essays with me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some straight up essays that you can answer if you've done the curriculum, but then there's going to be others where I'm going to tie in different parts of the program. I'm going to integrate the readings, and I'm also going to sometimes bring in something that you may have had at level 1 or level 2 that's in the level 3 program, but is sort of like glossed over a little bit. And I will integrate it into these essays because that's exactly what happens on exam day. People say, oh my God, the essays were so tough. There were things that they asked, I didn't even see them in the books. I didn't see them in the prep materials I was reading. That's right. You need to be able to integrate the different components of the pathway and the core readings with the ability to tie them together. For example, a level 3 candidate should know how to calculate the return on a tax-deferred investment versus a taxable investment given a certain number of years and a rate of return and a tax rate, and be able to do that. And then say, okay, if I want to monetize a strategy, how can I do that? And integrate that with derivatives. Derivatives is in your level 3 program. So that's what I'm trying to say to you. Don't go for these, direct, linear type of essays that come right out of the books. Get really good exams that are not overly challenging, but that they represent the level and difficulty of the real CFA exam. That's what I offer to you. So check it out on chalkandboard.org. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me and send me an email, a text message on WhatsApp, or a regular text message, or just submit something on the Contact Us form on my website. Have a great day. And if you're taking the exam in February, good luck to you. Thanks.